Hello, Internet. The voice of Mike Bertolini here, and I'm here to read you a story. This story is both captivating in its horror and its excitement. Remember to subscribe, hit that like button, leave a comment below, let me know what you think about this story. So, without any further ado, let's just get into the story. Hopefully, this is okay to post here. My story is not one where I was the target of someone's stalking or harassment, but one where I was the guy who was at the right place at the right time. And I am fairly certain my inadvertent intervention may have saved someone I'd never met from, well, who knows what. This was back in 2015 or 2016. I'm a career tow truck driver. At this point, I've been towing cars for most of my adult life, and will likely do so until I either retire or die, whichever comes first. At the time, I was working for a pretty small towing company with only 2 employees, and we rotated who was on call each weekend. It was my weekend on call, and it was summer, so with people being out and about late and whatnot, I was pretty busy. Cleaning up accidents, towing broken down cars both in the city and off the highway. I was fine with it, and I was paid commission at the time, so the more calls I did, the more money I made. So it's Saturday night, now Sunday morning. It's around 2:30, 3 o'clock, and like I said, I've been busy. I'm tired, a little grumpy, I kind of want to go home when my phone rings. It's an insurance company calling, asking if we can do a tow for one of their customers who had broken down on the side of the highway. The breakdown location they give me is about 15 miles out of town, which I normally wouldn't do, but the tow destination happens to be a dealership that's just a couple minutes from my apartment. I contemplate rejecting the call, but because I'm paid commission, I figure, screw it. I can run up and grab the car, drop it off around the corner from my place, and hopefully I can head home and get a couple hours of shut-eye. So I take the call and hop on the highway. The insurance company provided me with the customer's first name, which we'll say was Kara, and gave me a phone number for her. Usually I try to make contact with people who are on the side of the highway to let them know I'm on my way and give them an ETA. I tried calling her a couple times, but she doesn't answer. Not unusual. After a short while, she has her lights up the way on the shoulder, so I turn on my strobes and start slowing down. As I approach, I notice not only is there the late model car that I'm looking for, but there's another car on scene as well. It doesn't have its hazards on, but it's parked in front of the car I'm meant to tow. This is annoying, but not uncommon, as I need to be able to get in front of the disabled car in order to load it, and sometimes people don't realize that. But because the other car is there, I instead pull up behind both cars. You do this so that as tow driver, you're the one that has to make the weird maneuver pulling off the shoulder and back onto the shoulder, and that the other car just have to drive straight forward on the shoulder. Otherwise, if I pulled up in front, then the other car would have to go around me, and it's unprofessional and unsafe to make them do that. Standing at the truck of the late model car, which is now directly in front of me, are a man and a woman. The woman is probably in her early 20s and dressed to the nines for a night out. She's about 5'1" or 5'2", wearing tight leatherish or something pants, a halter top, long black hair, very pretty. The man is probably about 5'10" and skinny, maybe 150, 160, wearing a dark hoodie and dirty jeans. They're standing very close, facing each other. She has her arms crossed and he's leaning down, talking to her. I step out of my truck and approach them both, introduce myself. We separate a few feet, and I look at the woman and say, "Are you Kara?" She nods. I say I'm here from her insurance company and ask what's going on with the car. Immediately, the man pipes up and says, "Yeah, it's just having some fuel issues. It's an easy fix. Can I just drop you off at this commuter parking lot? I'm going to fix it for her there." I'm rather annoyed at this because the commuter lot in question is further up the highway and I'm already 15 miles out of town. Like I said before, I only took this call because it was supposed to be coming back toward my apartment, and I really wanted to go home. Not only that, but in order to change the original tow destination, I would have to call the insurance company back, wait on hold for who knows how long for a representative, and then let them know of the change, try to get them to pay me extra for the deadhead miles back home after unloading. And I really didn't want to do any of this. Thirdly, this is a late model car. I'm no mechanic, but it's new enough that whatever is wrong with it is likely covered under warranty. So a dealership is really the best place for it to go anyways. I explain this all to the guy, but he's not really having it. He gets stern with me, saying something like, "Look, man, you just need to take the car where I tell you to take it." We go back and forth in this for maybe 60 seconds, and he's just getting madder. Well, you know what, man? You're not the name insured. Kara is. The easy way to settle this is to ask what she wants me to do with the car. Whatever she says is what I'll do. Fingers crossed she'll want to take it to the dealership so I can get home sooner. I turn to look at Kara to ask her that question, and I don't see her right away. She's no longer standing where she was just a minute ago, which was slightly off to my right. I continue to not see her until I turn almost all the way around because she's standing directly behind me. And by directly, I mean within an inch of my back, arms still crossed. I look down at her and she locks eyes with me. Her eyes are wide as plates, almost owl-like, and immediately it feels like she's staring into my soul. She didn't say a word. She didn't have to. I took a step back and did what felt like a double take. I looked at him, then at her, then at him again, then back at her. It slowly started to dawn on me that maybe something isn't right. I asked her, "Do you know this guy?" And she ever so slightly shook her head no. The expression on her face when I asked her that will be forever burned in my skull. I turned to the guy and was like, "Oh, you gotta go, man." Now, I'm not a tough guy. I'm a total beta male, if there's such a thing. And I don't care who knows it. I have nothing to prove. I'm super averse to confrontation and will run at the first sign of trouble. I'm not exactly the biggest of guys either. I am, however, what I like to call sturdy at 5'8" and 240. I have a bit of a gut, but I also have big thighs and broad shoulders. People are generally surprised to find out that I weigh as much as I do. I think that might have been my saving grace for what happened next. Without a word, the guy starts to move for Kara, and I move to stay in between them. He tries to push me out of the way by shoving me in the chest, but because I believe he underestimated my weight, only pushed me hard enough to make me take a single step back. Immediately I took a step forward towards him and body checked him. Hard. As hard as I could. Hard enough to completely knock him over basically onto his ass. Because we rotated during the back and forth push bit, Kara's now in front of me to my right, somewhat between me and the guy who's trying to scramble to his feet. I reached down and snatched the poor girl up by her waist, spun her toward my truck and yelled for her to get into the driver's side, and she does so. I turn back to this guy, who's standing up again at this point, and he's breathing hard. He gets up right in my face but doesn't do anything, just breathes at me. I stare him right in his face and, mustering up the best dad voice I can muster, just say, "You need to go." I'm shaking now, and I'm absolutely terrified. I don't know if he has a weapon. I don't know if he's going to try to fight me, and I don't know what I'm going to do if he did. Like I said, I'm not a tough guy. I don't know how to fight. I've never been a fight in my life. What if I get hurt? What if I get stabbed? What do I even do now? I just want to go home. I wasn't even going to take this damn call. All this running through my head at lightning speed. After maybe 15 seconds or so, felt like eons, he said, he kind of huffs a bit, smiles one of the creepiest smiles I've ever seen, starts to back off. Sucking his teeth and rubbing his hands together, he slowly walks backwards a few steps, then makes his way to the front car, gets in, and drives off. I stayed motionless, watching him, until I could no longer see his taillights. I got Kara's car loaded up on the tow truck. As we made our way to the dealership, she told me through tears that her car had shut off while she was driving, and she pulled onto the shoulder and called her parents because she was on their insurance. Her parents made the call to the insurance company, who eventually dispatched me to her location. While she was waiting, a bit after she made the call, the guy pulled up in front of her and walked up to her passenger side window to try to talk to her, asking her if she needed help, etc., and she told him she was fine, that a tow truck was coming, and she didn't need help. persisted. She tried to tell him off, and eventually tried to roll up the window. Apparently, he stuck his arm in the window and got the door unlocked and opened the door. In fear, she jumped out of the car, leaving her phone inside, ran to the back of her car and stayed put there because there was no line of sight of traffic. Apparently, he was pretty lewd with her, and whenever she tried to go back to the car, he would prevent her from getting in. Several minutes later, I showed up. Who knows what would have happened if the timing had been any different. Her parents were at the dealership when we arrived, and she told them what had happened. Her parents gave me a $20 tip, which was all the cash they had on them at the time. Kara gave me a very tight and clearly heartfelt hug before I left. I never saw her again. I tell you what, every guy that has daydreamed at some point of coming to the rescue of a pretty girl in trouble, myself included. You think you're going to be a hero, that you're going to be the cat's ass, you're going to slay the dragon and get the girl and ride off into the sunset like the king you are. But for me, being in the situation, in the moment, was one of the most terrible feelings I've ever had in my life. Forced into a confrontation I didn't want nor was prepared for, not knowing what to expect from the clearly not well-hinged individual. I didn't feel like the cat's ass, and I didn't feel like a hero. I felt like a scared little kid encountering a bully on the playground for the first time. If I'm ever in a situation like that, I will never not intervene. I just really hope I don't have to.